new vehicle. See dealer for details.
All right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar.
This is Jaguars Postgame, presented by G.E.H.A. Join J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Pride of the Jaguars, Fred Taylor, as they break down today's game. Jaguars Postgame is brought to you by Farrah and Farrah, the University of Florida, Whataburger, and by Everbank. Jaguars Postgame, presented by G.E.H.A. starts right now.
And welcome in. Jaguars Postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A. Government Employees Health Association. Benefits for federal employees and retirees. J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey. No Fred Taylor this week. 17-17 final. Preseason week 2 at the Superdome in New Orleans. But, Mike, this is all about the starting Jaguars. They go 2 drives today. Move the ball on both offensively. 1 fumble, 1 touchdown. And then the Jaguars defense, after a week of communication work and getting your cleats in the ground, felt like that was a success today on the defensive side as well.
Well, look, the Saints, I think, had less yards in the first half of this game. The Jags dominated statistically across the board, and you wanted to see the first-team offense play well. They did. They moved the ball with the exception of the turnover. You can't have that fumble. Trevor Lawrence has got to eat that one during the regular season, or at least give Tank Bigsby a chance to reasonably take that handoff from him. But putting that aside, JP, we said it at the half, should have been 20-3 at a minimum. 24-3 is a possibility. Disappointing that they didn't get the opportunity to get Cam Little on in the end to kick the field goal, but we know he's got the range. Whether he made that one or not wouldn't really change anything. So from that standpoint, the Saints backups, the second and third stringers and the fourth stringers for that matter, dominated the Jags for the most part in the second half. The Spencer Rattler had way too much success through the air. He looked a lot better than Tyler Shuck, by the way, but you got to measure who you're going up against. So, hey, look, the important thing, the focus, the Jags first team came in, business trip, did what they needed to do, looked like the clearly better team, which I think they are, than the New Orleans Saints. And, the second half is the second half. And
that was even missing some starters on offense. Travis Hunter didn't play in the game. De'Ami Brown didn't play in the game. A couple of offensive linemen unavailable for the Jags as well. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Jaguars Radio Network. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios in the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville. It's Jaguars postgame after a 17-17 tie in preseason week number 2. We've got plenty ahead. We're standing by for head coach Liam Cohen. He'll visit with Kanani Stevens. We'll have that conversation coming up in a bit. We've got the player of the game voting. We've got all kind of stuff coming up after a tie in preseason week 2. The overtime rule, fairly new, but not bad in certain cases, like today.
In preseason, man, there's no need. These coaches don't want that, right? I mean, you almost don't want to have to go for 2 in that circumstance, but you have to because you're trying to win a football game. But, yeah, there's no need to play overtime in the preseason.
Plenty to come. Final score in preseason week 2, Jags 17, Saints 17. The Jaguars Radio Network is presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. This is Jaguars Postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
NFL fans, when it's time to get Jaguars tickets, you can tackle game day with total certainty with Ticketmaster. With 100% verified tickets available all season long, you can count on getting in with ease and spend time focusing on the good stuff. Even if you're headed to the game last minute, you can still score seats. Want to meet up inside the stadium with your crew? Transferring your tickets is an easy handoff. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Gran parte de la vida transcurre entre sorbos de Dasani. Esos momentos de la vida, ya sean grandes o pequeños, que te dan sed de más. Como organizar una noche de películas en familia bajo las estrellas. O bailar espontáneamente cuando escuchas tu vieja canción favorita. O encontrar una nueva receta para la cena que le encante a toda la familia. El fresco y puro sabor de Dasani fue creado para los momentos de la vida que sacian tu sed de vivir. Dasani, porque la vida transcurre entre sorbos.
Jaguars postgame continues. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville. Final score, Jags 17, Saints 17. Parker Washington, 2 targets, 2 catches, 19 yards, and a touchdown for the Jaguars today. He's with Kainani Stevens in New Orleans. Kai?
Thanks, JP. It's a fun one, Parker. Pre-game, we knew the starters were going to play a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, Travis Hunter not in today, De'Ami Brown not in today, so you got to play a little bit more than maybe you expected, but pretty exciting to kind of have that ability. We've seen you do great in camp, but to translate that into game and continue that.
How about to say definitely? I mean, like I said, practice is totally different from the game. So, I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, being able to come out here on game day and execute and do it at a high level. And I feel like that was important today, just to be able to step up in that moment, and it was fun to see.
Practice this week, you guys had a mental day, some physical days where you focus on both those things. On your touchdown, broke a tackle to find your way into the end zone. I imagine that was part of the focus on the physicality.
Definitely. I feel like the crazy part about it is that we don't tackle much during practice. So when you get in those live moments, it's like, oh, we can actually go now. So it was cool to see that I could actually break a tackle. That was kind of cool, but it was most important just being able to get in the end zone and make a play for our team.
Still got it. And then we saw some changes on the offensive line, injuries, and just them moving people around, right, trying to get used to that. Head coach Liam Cohen talked to us and said he was really expecting, the wide receivers to get involved in the blocking game a little bit too. Is that something you like to get involved in?
Definitely. I feel like that's a big thing in our room that we've been talking about, is just being real impactful in the run game and setting the tone early. And we had some plays where I felt like I could have did better, but I feel like it's been a great start for us in this camp and continue to lead up to the regular season of us just being physical and setting the tone and imposing our will the best way we can.
I'd love your perspective. Obviously, a new offense for you guys coming in, a new offense for Trevor Lawrence as well. How have you seen him progress, and how do you feel? Do you see him being more comfortable in the offense?
Definitely, and as far as being comfortable, even just being confident as that, and I feel like that's been real cool to see, and just for him in the leadership role that he's in, it impacts us as well, just seeing how comfortable and how explosive he could be and the throws he can make. It's just been cool to see, and it just makes us want to make plays. And when we do that for him, we can see the excitement, and it's fun to see how this offense is growing on us, and it's been cool to connect with.
Absolutely. You guys are heading to Miami. You'll have joint practice. What do you get out of a joint practice that maybe you don't get when you're going against your own team?
Especially for the ones and like QB1 and the receivers, you get to go against more different players, and you get a lot of reps. It's high intent, it's real competitive, real physical. That's about as close as you're going to get to a game as far as being on the practice field. So I feel like that's really good for us to get a lot of reps against a different opponent, and as far as that, to see where our mentality is and how we're going to impose our will against other opponents.
All right, Parker Washington, 2 catches and a touchdown. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate you.
All right, Kai, thanks very much. And Parker as well. Yeah, 2 catches, 19 yards, touchdown in the game for him. Travis Hunter didn't play. De'Ami Brown didn't play. So Parker steps in, and he's going to be a piece of this group anyway. It just kind of feels that way. But on a day like today, he's out there with a starting group in there all the time.
Yeah, and, we focus on versatility for some of these positions like offensive line, but Parker Washington's a very versatile player. He had a punt return today, kickoff return today. He can play, I think he can play outside, but he can definitely play out of the slot on offense. He can take on a big role. He can be a starting caliber wide receiver for this football team and handle that amount of reps. So he can do a little bit of everything for you, and it's nice to see him take that from the practice field directly to the game field here and produce.
Still plenty ahead. Standing by for head coach Liam Cohen to visit with Kai. We'll have that interview coming up. Final score in New Orleans, Jags 17, Saints 17. And this is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar.
Want to earn a deal on the entire Toyota lineup at the national sales event? Then do as I say. Great job. You just earned a deal. Get $500 in bonus lease cash on a new 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Offer valid through September 2nd, 2025. Offer entitles $500 bonus lease cash on the lease of a new and untitled 2025 Toyota Tacoma vehicle. Bonus cash may be used only toward down payment or capitalized cost reduction on the new vehicle. See dealer for details.
Something happens when you begin to believe. What seems way off in the distance gets closer.
You focus on what needs to get done, and you'll let nothing get in your way.
Next year becomes this year, and maybe next time becomes now. A whole city will rally behind you and begin to believe too.
Because when you believe, the unbelievable can happen. We believe in justice for everyone, and we believe we're the attorneys to help people get it. Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A, Government Employees Health Association. Benefits for federal employees and retirees. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. We're at the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville after a tie final, 17-17. Jags Saints preseason week 2. Jaguars had a 17-3 lead in the game, and then the Saints in the second half got a couple field goals and then a very late touchdown. Jags had the football at the end. We're right there in their midfield. Interception. And nearly ran it back all the way, which would have been a winning score for the Saints. But at the end of the game, Jags could have had a chance for a long field goal try again from Cam Little. But today, really about for the most part, about the starters, how long they went, how they regrouped from practice this week. And Parker talked a little bit about that, the focus they had on the alignment and assignment on defense early, and then the offensive issues that they had a lot in the scrimmage on Thursday. Okay, they bounced back, I think, in a pretty good way today.
Yeah, I think both sides did early on. JP, I saw a stat when the first teams were in today, 118 yards for the Jags, 21 for the New Orleans Saints. Jags 3 of 3 on third down. Saints didn't convert a third down early. So, that's good. I think maybe the most impressive stat for the second week in a row, Jags offensive line didn't allow a sack. Right now, granted, I get it. You're not talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to win the game, obviously, but I thought that they responded. The team responded in the right way, for the majority of the game in terms of coming out, starting fast. Defensively, I thought they played really well throughout. Until obviously the end, you put them in a tough spot there, and then I was pleased with the way that We ran the football early on with the older guys, with the guys that, we expect obviously to be contributing at a high level for us consistently. And I thought Trevor, minus obviously the fumble, was pretty sharp.
You wanted to be clean, no penalties by the starters, and only one in the first half. What you wanted?
Yes. You definitely felt a better sense of urgency of the alignment, assignment, getting lined up. The shifts and motions were clean. I was pleased with the operation, especially coming from what we were trying to emphasize last week. So I was pleased with that. I definitely felt like, we played well enough to win, but in this game, in this, especially in preseason, you see some crazy stuff, and I'd like to be able to finish the game the right way.
You mentioned the running game. You had some real moments in the first couple drives.
Yeah, I was pleased with the way that we were coming off the ball up front. I thought without Chuma and Anton in there, you didn't feel a huge drop off up front. I know it wasn't their starting defense playing, but we did move the ball the way you would expect them to against anybody's second unit. But Tank and Etienne, I thought both had some really nice moments. So did Tootin and LeQuint. I thought all four of those guys actually had some really nice moments.
Where do you think Trevor is in terms of thinking through this offense and playing through this offense at this point?
Yeah, I thought this game was another step in the right direction where you saw him clicking through progressions again and getting to his third and fourth reads a few times. I thought we protected him really well up front, which allows a quarterback to do those things. And also when you run the ball effectively, it also takes some pressure off the quarterback. So I was pleased with his outing tonight. Obviously the one fumble is a tough one because you just got to eat that. It's a great learning moment for him, especially in the red area where you already have points. So when you have 2 turnovers in the red zone, when you already have points, those are tough ones when you end up tying a game.
Parker Washington shows up almost every day.
He does. He just consistently keeps competing at a high level. Like it's every day he makes a play. Every day he's in the right spot at the right time, working his tail off. I love his play energy. He doesn't really fatigue that much. He's in great physical shape. I've been very pleased with Parker.
It's an interesting week for you guys, just the way you did the practices. There's a lot of talk about that. How do you feel about the whole thing now that it's done?
Yeah.
And did you get what you wanted through all of that?
Very much so. I think you had a very physical week of practice, and then they came out and played physically, and they also played smarter in a lot of ways. So I definitely believe that this team responded in the right way from being challenged post-Steelers game to coming out having one of our better practices at training camp this week, then having a little bit of a uglier scrimmage, and then you come out and you start fast, and the 1s and 2s, I feel like, for the most part, really competed at a higher level than maybe we had, and there was no question that they were trying to play physical.
How valuable have these 2 weeks been just being put in situations that are game-like, even the end?
Yeah,
right?
It's huge. Oh, it's great. You go and, okay, they get the 2-point conversion. You got 20 seconds left. You got your timeouts. You hit a seam ball down into the plus territory. And, man, you feel like you're right back in it, and you got a great chance to go win the game. We're running all slants, a play to just maybe gain 5 yards. We're in a down timeout situation. It was communicated. Those guys were on it. It's just, hey, credit them. They made a good play on the slant. Ball gets tipped up in the air, and I was just praying that there was no time left on the clock because, it would have been a bummer to lose that game. Hey, you never want to not win, obviously, but the situational football that does show up for us, and another one before the half where we end up having a 2-minute drill that goes to the cross the 50. We get a good completion. We got a slow clock at 4 on the timeout and executed that at a high level. So you felt like some good stuff did show up for us.
Do you think upstairs to down here are
much
doing
better.
The things that you want to?
Much better. Yeah, much better from last week. Much improved communication from last week. Felt a little less chaotic just on the sidelines and the headsets up top. Felt like the players felt that as well in terms of being able to just be nice and calm and play the call, get their cleats in the ground, and go communicate and play. So I do believe it was a step in the right direction.
All right, Coach, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Oh. Any players coming in? Trevor, I think.
Bank Performance Savings Account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Jaguar Hall of Famer Tony Baselli telling you about Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and home remodeling company. With over 25 years of trusted experience, Heritage of North Florida has built a reputation for quality, reliability, and craftsmanship. Whether you need a new roof or updating your kitchen or bathroom, trust the pros at Heritage of North Florida to create the perfect place to...
Yeah, I thought it was cleaner in a lot of ways. Operation, penalties, a lot less of those to start out on the first couple drives. So I think from that standpoint, it was a lot better. Moved the ball well. We were good on third downs, converted some of those third downs, which was good to see. Protection was really good. Obviously, besides the one fumble, that whole sequence was not good. But besides that one play, to be honest, it was a pretty clean day. We moved the ball, stayed on schedule, I guess you could say, and we were pretty efficient.
You mentioned being clean. Such an emphasis this week. Good to see that.
Yeah, good to see that. We made a big emphasis on it this week in practice, and it was good to see it carry over. The guys really owned it, and we were a lot sharper, pre-snap. Still more work to be done. That's an everyday, focus and emphasis for us moving forward. But, it was definitely improvement.
What was that week of practice? Well, I mean, it's pretty different, at least from our vantage point that we've seen. How different was it from your vantage point, and how effective, I guess, to deliver the results today?
It was good, just really, we always harp on the details, so I wouldn't say it's new in that way. I think this staff and everyone does a really good job of stressing how important the details are, but really letting that kind of drive practice. If anything was wrong, it was started over. And usually in practice you have those mistakes. Every team, everyone does it, and you kind of correct them after. But one of the days this week we really just started everything over when those things happened. We were looking for all that. The coaches did a good job of slowing it down. So we slowed some of the tempo down as far as post snap, but just really focusing on all the pre-snap stuff because, keep doing the same thing and getting the same results. So I thought it was a good job by the staff of, changing some stuff up, and I think it helped us this week.
I know it was only 2 series, but did you feel the running game sort of getting going?
Definitely. I thought we really settled in nicely in those 2 drives. It was nice to have a second drive today to kind of after the first drive. Obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to, and we could settle in and run the ball a little better on the second drive. Had some, like I said, some third down conversions, seeing guys make plays in different situations. I think that was fun to be a part of, to actually kind of get in the feel of the game, the flow of the game a little bit. It was a good step for us.
People sort of assume Parker Washington's the 4th receiver, but he plays, and I guess you seem to have a rapport with him right now.
Yeah, I play with Parker now for a few years, and he's, just the way the room is kind of shaking out the last couple of years. He's always been in that position, but he just keeps making plays. So I don't want to put numbers on anybody or what they are or aren't, but he keeps making plays and keeps showing up, and it's gonna be tough to keep that guy off the field the way he's playing. And I've just been impressed by the way he works. This guy is always in great shape, can play all the different positions. I think that's really what you're seeing has helped him so much, is he can move around. And so when something happens, he can play inside, he can play outside. A lot of flexibility with him, and he just keeps growing and getting better and better and smarter and understanding what we're doing conceptually, and he's just really doing a good job right now.
You guys are, I think, July 23rd started, September 7th is where you're getting to, halfway home, I guess. Do you look at milestones at all about where you are at as an offense halfway through? Is it just one big day for you? I mean, how do you judge it and see where it's going?
Yeah, I mean, it's just day by day, really. I mean, that's how camp is you take it one day at a time. You try to make that day the best day as far as just focusing on the details and trying to get better. There's things that we need to correct that show up at different times, and it's just a constant, I guess, pursuit of being perfect. You're never going to get there, but being perfect operationally, pre-snap, knowing your job, your assignment. For me as a quarterback, all my footwork reads different cans for different plays, all those things, and you can never practice them enough. And so we've gotten some great work in camp, really just taking it one day at a time. We're at that phase now where, joint practice this week with Miami, which will be great to go against a different defense. We've been battling against our defense all at camp, so it'll be nice to see something different and have to adjust and, see how the guys respond to that. And then obviously at the game in Miami, and then we're running. I mean, we got a couple weeks after that to prepare, but then it's go time. So it's getting here quick. I think we've taken some big steps, but this week is important for us because it's not just, we're still kind of in that camp mindset of really attacking the day, trying to get better, still continue to get in shape, getting ready to play week 1.
No penalties for the starters. How important is that?
It was great. It was great. Like I said, the emphasis on it this week I think made a big difference, and guys really took it to heart and took the coaching, and we corrected a lot of that.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Congrats, John.
I'm going to talk to Coach McDaniel this week and kind of get the layout of practice, see if we can do some situational football as well. Some of the stuff organically comes up in games, but not a ton. So we'd like to be able to get some good situational football and try to get a physical practice down there in Miami, knowing that it's unlikely we may play a lot of the guys, in this upcoming game.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much.
It's head coach Liam Cohen with Kai Stevens in New Orleans. Plenty ahead. We'll come back with the defensive play of the game presented by Kingfish Pest Control and Everbank Stats Check and much more after a final score. Jags 17, Saints 17 in preseason week 2. And this is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with Everbank. Open an Everbank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. Everbank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
My best friend Riley loved going to the beach. She was a great swimmer. Then one day, during a swim meet, she collapsed. She had cancer, Hodgkin lymphoma. She spent months getting care at UF Health. The doctors did so much, even put her in a clinical trial. I wish we could go to the beach right now. But she's working.
Out of the water.
She's on lifeguard duty. Maybe we'll head out when her shift is done.
UF Health. Human progress has no finish line.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow! Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's the summer sales event with the Ford Groom.
Sam, 30 seconds on the clock. The Ford Summer Sales Event.
Great time to buy.
Correct. What do we have amazing deals on this summer?
Ford trucks and SUVs.
Is Ford America's all-time best-selling auto brand?
Let me think. Yeah, it is.
3 for 3.
What do I win?
You get to work at the Ford Summer Sales Event.
Amazing. I think I was going to do that anyway.
You betcha.
Based on Automotive News Almanac historical data and industry-reported sales data from 1909 through 2024 CY.
Jaguars postgame continues, presented by G.E.H.A. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios in Jacksonville after a 17-17 tie. The Jaguars in New Orleans. Preseason week 2 is in the books, and it's time for the Kingfish Pest Control defensive play of the game. And it's the Jaguars defense with their first takeaway of the season with one of their newest members of the roster, Kenai Lovely, the cornerback, signed this week, was in the UFL. Gets an interception today. Great break on the ball. Nice return up near midfield. And that is the defensive play of the game presented by Kingfish Pest Control. Let the pros tackle the pest in your home by going to kingfishpest.com. That's kingfishpest.com. And some room for cornerbacks to play. There's some injuries in the secondary here in camp, Mike, and a good opportunity for Kenai Lovely to get in there and make a play today.
Yeah, look, turnovers is so important for this football team. They've got to generate more than they have. That's 1 in 2 weeks. You're talking about, won every other game. That's the pace they had last year, which put them dead last in the National Football League. Now, granted, it's only a couple of preseason games, but clearly that was a big play at that moment in time because the Saints were driving to try to score and tie it up with a 2-point conversion. And at least for then, you felt like you had turned them away and they, gave it up late. I'm curious to see after they watch the film how the corners played in the second half, though, with Spencer Rattler throwing for nearly 200 yards in one half. He made some excellent throws out there. He made a few bad ones as well, and including that interception. I saw Saints media were crushing him like just when it looked like someone was taking his starting job by the reins. He goes and does that. So back and forth it's been for the Saints.
A lot of preseason to go
No
in
doubt.
New Orleans.
Well, one more
year.
game.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a long few weeks to figure that out until week 1. And it still might not be decided by week 1. You never know how the season goes in New Orleans. It's time now for an Everbank Stats Check. We take a look at this team statistics today in a 17-17 tie. The Jaguars outgained the Saints 337 to 335, but the starters dominated the Saints, air quotes, starters today, which is a lot of second-team Saints. But the Jaguars starters did their job very well today in the first 2 drives, moving the football offensively, had a fumble and a touchdown today. Rushing yardage, 96 to 87 in favor of the Jaguars. 4 penalties, 61 yards against the Jags, 6 for 57 against the Saints. First downs, 21 to 18 in favor of the Jags, who were 6 of 12 on third down. The Saints, 4 of 13. Time of possession in favor of New Orleans, 31 minutes and 12 seconds, and 3 turnovers for the Jaguars today. That's the statistic that you never like to lose.
No doubt about that. As mentioned, Spencer Rattler led the way individually, 199 yards passing with a touchdown and an interception for the Saints. For the Jags, Nick Mullins had 112. He also threw a pick. Trevor Lawrence was 8 of 10 for 76 yards, and that score to Parker Washington, a 131.7 quarterback rating for what that's worth here in the preseason. Jags overall 26 carries for 96 yards. As we mentioned, if you take out Jaquindon Jackson's 5 for 9, they were a little over 4 yards a carry. Bajal Tootin had 10 for 35. Travis Etienne had 24 on only 3 carries today. Tootin gets in the end zone for the second consecutive week. Velus Jones for the Saints had 4 carries for 29 yards to lead them. Hunter Long, on the strength of a 26-yard reception, was the leading receiver for the Jaguars. 2 catches for 32 yards. The ball was spread around to a number of players. Both Austin Trammell and LaQuint Allen had 4 receptions apiece in this game. Mason Tipton, on the other side, he had a 45-yarder. He had 6 catches for 100 yards against Jaguar backups today. Defensively, you saw Ventrell Miller and Dewey Wingard be credited with the sacks. The Miller sack might have been assisted by a few other guys, but he got the full credit in the box score. And in the tackles for a loss column, Jags didn't allow any last week. They allowed 2 today, but no sacks, and had 5 tackles for loss. That included the 2 sacks, so 3 stops in the run game behind the line of scrimmage as well.
Have they allowed a sack this season, this preseason yet?
No, 2 straight games,
That's
no
good.
sacks.
Yeah.
Again, just, little vanilla, but you'll take it, right?
It's better than having the quarterback
And
on the ground.
I feel like Trevor Lawrence has been getting the ball out of his hands pretty quickly and efficiently, and I'm sure that's in large part by design, but he has been effective, and it's not like he's just, all right, it's not there, throw it away. He's 8 of 10 today. So he, again, Trevor eats that ball, and I feel like he felt he could make that play. It was awkward. He had, instead of having your palm up like you usually do when you hand it off, he had it the other way and kind of tried to, here you go, Tank. He shoved it into his chest, and the whole transfer didn't work out. But, take that play away, and you can't. It's honestly a pretty good lesson, right? Liam Cohen can now harp on this for Trevor Lawrence. Look, the importance of this, we're dominating this team. We're marching it down the field. If we get a touchdown there, you look, it's 24-3 at the half, and this game is over. And I understand maybe it would have been over anyway if the Jags leave their starters in. But I thought Trevor looked fairly sharp today.
Let's come back with the Jaguars Radio Network Player of the Game voting. Final score, Jags 17, Saints 17 in preseason week 2. And this is Jaguars postgame on Jaguars Radio.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Brooks Rehabilitation is proud to be the official rehabilitation partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are here for them, and we are here for you. Ranked #1 physical rehabilitation hospital in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, our playbook is individualized treatment and exceptional care to get you back to living your life. Brooks has cutting-edge technology and therapy solutions in every care setting, treating sports injury, orthopedics, brain, spinal injuries, and more. Go beyond your expectations with Brooks Rehabilitation.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Andersen. You've seen and heard our ads where I talk about Renewal by Andersen's exclusive Fibrix material being twice as strong as vinyl, incredibly energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. But if you haven't reached out yet, now's the time. August only. Renewal by Andersen is offering triple savings. $300 off every window, $825 off every patio door, plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Don't wait. Schedule your free consultation today at bestwindowsflorida.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A, Government Employees Health Association, benefits for federal employees and retirees. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. We're at the Hyundai Studios after a tie finish today in New Orleans in preseason week 2. Jags 17, Saints 17, and time for the Jaguars Radio Network Player of the Game voting. I get a vote. Mike Dempsey gets a vote. And with us today from our flagship station, 1010XL, as always, our producer on pre- and post-game shows, Tony Smith, will have a vote and a half today. No Fred Taylor in the house today. So, Mike, get us started. Who you got?
All right, I'd like to give this to Trevor Lawrence, but the turnover, I'm going to eliminate him, right? That's a key play, negative play. Had a nice drive, 8 of 10, or a couple of drives, and very effective, but going to eliminate him. Bajal Tootin under consideration for me, but I'd like to see that average per carry get up there a little bit, 10 for 35. He did have the touchdown. I thought he played well. But I'm going to give this one to Parker Washington. I know he only had the 2 catches, but he only had the 2 targets, and you're stepping in with Travis Hunter and De'Ami Brown not playing, so you're in the starting lineup. Plus, he handled punt return. I think he had 9 yards there, 35 yards on a kickoff return on top of that, and a nice move on the grab that resulted in him being able to fight for the end zone. So I give my vote to Parker Washington.
Okay, I'll go next. And you know what? I hear your Trevor Lawrence argument, and I somewhat agree. You got to hang on to the football, though he did lead 2 successful drives for the starting offense. Defensively, there was an interception today. I mean, we just talked about that as the defensive play of the game. A couple of sacks from the Jaguars defense, but they were spread out. I think I'm going to lean towards Bajal Tootin. Okay. He scored a touchdown for the second straight game, 10 carries, 35 yards in a crowded running back room. He is really starting to emerge, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people, as an option for this offense. So I'm going to go Bajal Tootin and leave it up to Tony Smith of 1010XL. Tony?
Yeah, I think I can take that responsibility, you guys. It is the guys you named are the ones that you would consider. It would have been Trevor Lawrence pretty easily without the fumble. I think if they do in that drive in the end zone, they didn't though, and I would go with Tootin as my MVP vote. That is the guy who he stands out to me as he's likely to even take over the short yardage stuff. He always finishes every play going forward. He's shown how effective he is in goal line. It's not that he had a bunch of carries for a bunch of yards. He's just effective with whatever they're asking him to do. And in a crowded backfield, who's going to emerge as kind of the lead guy? among the four guys in the backfield. If I had to vote right now who I think it's going to wind up beating, I think it's going to be Tootin when everything is settled in this thing. It may not be week one, but I think sooner rather than later, Bashal Tutin's going to be the guy they want to feature in the backfield.
Yeah, honorable mention too to LaQuint Allen today, who had 2 carries for 18 yards, but 4 catches on 5 targets for 24, and he's flashed a little bit in the preseason also. But the Jaguars Radio Network player of the game is running back Bashal Tutin, 10 carries, 35 yards, second straight game for a touchdown for the rookie out of Virginia Tech. And from the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. We're back with the UF Health injury report after a 17-17 final. Saints in New Orleans against the Jags against the Saints in New Orleans in preseason week 2. And this is Jaguars postgame on Jaguars Radio.
NFL fans, when it's time to get Jaguars tickets, you can tackle game day with total certainty with Ticketmaster. With 100% verified tickets available all season long, you can count on getting in with ease and spend time focusing on the good stuff. Even if you're headed to the game last minute, you can still score seats. Want to meet up inside the stadium with your crew? Transferring your tickets is an easy handoff. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Hi, it's Sam Kavaris. You probably already know that Echo East Coast Transportation is the official transportation provider for the Jaguars. I've been a client for more than 30 years because they're from here, and like you, they've been Jaguar fans from the beginning. So for any prearranged transportation needs, call them at 904-631-5466 or find them online at ectjax.com and use the code SAM in the special instructions box for your 15% Jaguars discount. And if you want to talk Jaguars, they can do that too.
With the first pick in the 2025 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 plumbing, septic, and air conditioning contractor in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked #1?
When you're stuck, call the Duck. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're a certified plumbing, master septic, and air conditioning contractor serving both residential and commercial customers. Check out our reviews on Google and give us a call to schedule service. DuckDuckRooter.com.
It's game time, Jaguars fans. This season, feed your fandom with the Jaguars sub from Publix, the official supermarket of your Jacksonville Jaguars. Sink your teeth into crispy chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, melted cheddar, sweet coleslaw, and smoky barbecue mayo, all stacked on a fresh white roll. Taste the hype only at Jacksonville Publix locations. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Andersen. You've seen and heard our ads where I talk about Renewal by Andersen's exclusive Fibrix material being twice as strong as vinyl, incredibly energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. But if you haven't reached out yet, now's the time. August only. Renewal by Andersen is offering triple savings. $300 off every window, $825 off every patio door, plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Don't wait. Schedule your free consultation today at bestwindowsflorida.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars postgame presented by G.E.H.A. continues. J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. Jaguars 17, Saints 17, preseason week 2 in the books. And the injury report is presented by UF Health, the proud healthcare partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We heard of a couple of linemen limping around at certain points in the game today. One of those was Wyatt Milam, the rookie offensive lineman who's put together a very good training camp so far. No real status on he or Fred Johnson, who was limping at some point as well. They're going into the game were a bunch of question marks, and most of those players sat down and did not go today, including, of course, Travis Hunter, who, with an upper body issue after Thursday's scrimmage, did not practice Friday and was off to the side today. De'Ami Brown, same idea, just holding him out today. Tyson Campbell, what's his status moving forward? We'll find out. Others who of note who were not available today: Anton Harrison on the offensive line, Chuma Edoga on the offensive line, linebacker who we heard from in the pregame show, Dennis Gardeck, did not play in the game today, but he has been practicing. That's good news in his progression to get back. And, of course, still haven't seen Eric Armstead or Mason Smith in any preseason action yet.
Right. But Mason Smith, I noticed this week. I talked about it a lot on my local show, that on Tuesday he was going hard. And, he was working out still on his own, had not even joined, like positional drills in the team portion of practice. And he was doing full speed backpedal ladder drills and moving, for a guy his size. So I thought it was getting close with him. I think pretty clear that unless there's a further setback, he's going to be ready to go. I think Armstead, from what I heard, he was going at it pretty hard. Because of the schedule, I couldn't see practice on Thursday, was working out again on his own. So he's been out on the grass doing a little bit of stuff this week. If he follows kind of the Mason Smith timeline, he should be ready right around the start of the season, I would hope, JP. And, it's the more concerning to me right now in terms of the injuries is the number of ones mounting on the offensive line. How significant is any individual one? I don't know the answer to that. But the Wyatt Milam one today is at least a little bit concerning, because you would have liked to have seen him play extensive playing time today. And as you heard Jeff Logman say during the game broadcast, he's a guy that he's been very impressive on film, impressive in practice, showing versatility. You feel like he could almost play any position for you but center right now in a pinch. And I hope he's able to get back in there for next week against Miami.
Yeah, and there's a practice, joint practice on Thursday, and the game is Saturday down in South Florida in preseason week 3. Back in a moment, we'll preview next week after a final score in preseason week 2 of Jaguars 17, Saints 17. This is Jaguars postgame on the Jaguars Radio Network.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank. Advantage you. Member FDIC. And the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Something happens when you begin to believe. What seems way off in the distance gets closer.
You focus on what needs to get done, and you'll let nothing get in your way.
Next year becomes this year, and maybe next time becomes now.
A whole city will rally behind you and begin to believe too.
Because when you believe, the unbelievable can happen. We believe in justice for everyone, and we believe we're the attorneys to help people get it. Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
Want to earn a deal on the entire Toyota lineup at the national sales event? Then do as I say. Great job. You just earned a deal. Get $500 in bonus APR cash on a new 2025 Toyota Tacoma. Offer valid through September 2nd, 2025. Offer entitles $500 bonus APR cash on the purchase of a new and untitled 2025 Toyota Tacoma vehicle. Bonus cash may be used only toward down payment or capitalized cost reduction on the new vehicle. See dealer for details.
To aim higher, run faster. It's what elite athletes do. Always strive for better. At UF Health, we have that same DNA. To not just treat a stroke, but to create a fleet of mobile stroke treatment units. To not just do research, but to use AI to save lives with one of the most powerful supercomputers in academia. We believe, like athletes, that human progress has no finish line. UF Health, National Medical Center for Team USA.
Jaguars postgame brought to you by G.E.H.A, Government Employees Health Association, benefits for federal employees and retirees. J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey from the Hyundai Studios. Final score 17-17. Jaguars in New Orleans against the Saints today in preseason week 2. And now it's on to the final week of the preseason. There is a joint practice Thursday down in Davie against the Dolphins. And then Saturday, the game at Hard Rock Stadium, Saturday evening. And the last chance, as you heard Liam Cohen say, yeah, most likely a lot of the frontline guys won't get a lot of time in the game, so a lot of the action will be focused on Thursday against the Dolphins down there.
Easier to do that after your frontline guys played pretty well today, right? Trevor Lawrence, if Trevor Lawrence was 3 of 10 and had an interception, maybe
they jumped off sides 4 times,
and it wasn't like that. They were pretty clean. They had in the first half, the Jags only had 1 false start penalty. That was the only penalty they had. Didn't have much in the way of negative plays other than the fumble. So, obviously Trevor Lawrence knows, or he should know, and we'll have it repeated to him, I'm sure, many times this week. You can't allow that to happen when you're in the red zone. This team, Cam Little's an automatic 3. You got to think of it that way. Once you're across midfield, he's basically an automatic 3. And certainly in that range, you can't give away points, and had a great chance the way they were moving the ball to get a touchdown on that drive. But look, it's one drive, it's one play. That'll be forgotten. The work they get done Thursday will be the most important. And I hope, JP, it's similar to what we saw last year because, in years past, Jags would get excited about certain guys, and then they'd have a joint practice, and you go, okay, this is what it looks like against another NFL team, and it hasn't been great. Last year, it's kind of the coming out party for Brian Thomas Jr. in that environment, and you heard the Bucs players afterwards going, they've got this guy. Like, this guy's going to be a problem for the league. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of that. Devon Achane is banged up. I don't know if he's going to be practicing at all this week for Miami. Tyreek Hill's been banged up as well. So I'd like to see them in there to give you the best test for this defense, but I don't think we're going to get the full-strength Miami Dolphins.
That's coming up this week. For those on our flagship station, 1010XL in Jacksonville, stick around. We'll have the scoreboard show next with a further recap of today's action and the final score today, Jaguars 17, Saints 17. So if you're outside of Jacksonville, join us on Jaguars.com or the Jaguars YouTube channel. Our thanks to our entire crew, and thanks to you for listening. Final score for the final time in preseason week 2, Jags 17, Saints 17 on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Welcome to the Jaguars Scoreboard Show. J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Bucky Brooks will take your calls about today's game and take a look at the rest of the league. The Jaguars Scoreboard Show is brought to you by Farrah & Farrah, Whataburger, the University of Florida, and by Everbank. The Jaguars Scoreboard Show starts right now.
Welcome in, J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. No Bucky Brooks this week after a Jaguars tie. Half a win, half a loss. Jags 17, Saints 17. We'll get to calls a little later, but none this week. But plenty to discuss after this one. Successful couple drives for the starting offense and defense today. And then, of course, at the very end, the game fell apart with the late touchdown allowed and then the interception at the end with a chance for a long field goal. Ends in a tie today, but some coaching points, some real positive things, and I think the most positive thing, Mike, the response after the week of work. Everything that was focused on in practice a couple of times this week showed up for the most part today from the starters.
Yeah, particularly right for the starters. In the first half, 1 penalty for 5 yards, right? And this is the thing. They started the game with a penalty last week. You're already in the hole right off the bat. So it's Trevor Lawrence's decision to try to hand that ball off instead of just eating it. And I get it. He's a competitor. You're in that moment. You think, I can still make this play, and we can get something positive out of it when, he couldn't get the handoff to Tank Bigsby. You take those two things, that 5-yard penalty, which was no big deal, and that fumble, and really it was a very clean first half, particularly first quarter, and that's really what you're focusing on today with these guys. And again, JP, for the second week in a row, and I understand this is not heavy blitz schemes, and this is not the best pass rushing team in the National Football League, to be sure, and they were missing a few guys today as well, but still, for the offensive line to go out, not allow a sack, playing through a different number of combinations, trying to figure out who their best five is going to be and where their reserves are going to come from, because they do have a lot of guys that can play a lot of positions. To go 2 weeks in a row without allowing a sack is, look, that's what you're asking them to do, is block the guy that they're competing against. They can't, roll back the clock on some of these Saints players, and it is what it is, what they're facing out there. And so they did a good job. I thought Trevor was unmolested in the pocket in his time in there. And yes, cleaning things up might have been priority number one, but I think Trevor Lawrence played better than last week. The numbers were pretty good last week, but I thought he played better, was a little bit more aggressive throwing the ball down the field, had a little bit better connection with Brian Thomas Jr., and he didn't have Hunter and De'Ami Brown to rely on in this game. He used Brenton Strange to good effect. I thought the one time Trevor scrambled up the middle, kept his eyes up, hit Strange. I think that might have been a third down conversion. I thought that was one of his better plays. So, I feel pretty good about the way Liam Cohen is managing the offense to put Trevor Lawrence in the best position to succeed.
Finishing 8 of 10 passing, 76 yards and a touchdown today, rating of 131.7 for Trevor Lawrence, and that one carry, no yards officially in the rushing world for Trevor today. Other starters offensively, Tank Bigsby, 2 carries, 6 yards. Travis Etienne had 3 for 24. But then Bashal Tutin in the running game, 10 for 35 and a touchdown for the second straight day. The rookie out of Virginia Tech just continues to show off a little bit and continues to play well in the running game. LaQuint Allen, the other running back, is the rookie out of Syracuse with 4 catches for 24 yards and 2 carries for 18. So all 4 of those players getting some significant time. And then Jaquindon Jackson with 5 carries for 9 yards, finally getting in the box score. Did not get a carry in last week's game.
Get your rest, Jaquindon. You'll get plenty of work next week. I think LaQuint Allen will probably start the game, is my guess, because it's interesting. Earlier this week, asked Liam Cohen about the running game, and he said all 3 of our guys did well. I think there's a clear pecking order. Now, LaQuint Allen may have a very specific role. He may be a third down back for this team, but I don't think you're going to see him get a lot of run on first and second down. I don't think you'll see him get a lot of carries, but he could be an effective passing game weapon. Tutin, I agree with what Tony Smith said when we were talking just last hour about how Bashal Tutin will be it at some point. The point is when it comes, right? Like right now, if they're starting today, Travis Etienne, I would suspect, would be your opening day starting running back. That's what I would suspect. But who knows what the makeup is? Are they really going to carry 4 tailbacks on this team? Even with injuries in Tampa last year, they got by with 3, and they had Sean Tucker ready to go, and he had a big game for them. I think all 3 of the top 3 backs on the Jags could be the quote-unquote featured back, early down, heavy workload guy, but that's in the coaching staff's hands now to see how they ultimately build the roster.
We'll get into that a little deeper when we return. Also, some defensive talk. Jaguars starting group played well today and responded from last week's performance. We'll dig into that. Final score, Jags 17, Saints 17 in preseason week 2. And this is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
The moment you drop off donations at a North Florida Goodwill, your things start new lives. A donated jersey helps someone suit up for success through education and training. A pair of old cleats helps a job seeker step confidently into new career opportunities. Every donation fuels Goodwill's mission to provide education, training, and career opportunities, removing barriers to employment and building brighter futures across our community. To find your nearest donation center and learn more, visit GoodwillNorthFL.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
What's Here is a place that generations have trusted to help their kids grow up healthy and strong. What's Here are caregivers with knowledge and expertise rivaling any children's hospital in the world. What's Here is the only Level 1 pediatric trauma center in our region. What's Here is Wolfson Children's Hospital with the technology, research, and dedication to save and change countless young lives. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Hey, Jaguar fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Join the thousands of Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Stadium on game day. That's JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jags. Passes start at $10 on the MyJTA mobile app. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Game Day Express is one way the JTA is working to create a better connected Northeast Florida. Visit JTAFLA.com for more details.
Hey fans, it's Tyson Campbell, cornerback for your Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium. And you can enjoy even more with the pizza pick-off promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their locations.
My husband, Steve, was diagnosed with prostate cancer. They only gave him months to live. That was years ago. Now, he's out there, under the tree. Nature photography is his thing. And apparently, so is catching poison ivy.
Oof, so itchy. UF Health. Human progress has no finish line.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games. When you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport, catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
The Jaguars Scoreboard Show continues right now.
And the Jaguars Scoreboard Show is presented by Everbank. Advantage you. Make the most out of your money at everbank.com/Jaguars. No calls today. J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey after a 17-17 tie. Jaguars against the Saints in preseason week 2. A lot of the focus early in the week practice, especially the first time out after the game last week, was alignment assignment periods. And especially on the defensive side of the ball, getting the plays in a little faster from the booth to the sideline, or the sideline where Anthony Campanelli is to the players, and then getting cleats in the ground facing the offense as the ball is snapped, not after the ball is snapped, and not looking around. Well, it seemed like today, much more organized, on point. Obviously, the performance shows that statistically, and that's a good step. They worked on it, check the box, and now they can move forward with other things.
Hopefully, right? Hopefully we're beyond this and whatever it took. And I think about this, man. You're a professional football player, and you got to go through a 40-play period where you're not really snapping the ball, when you're just lining. I mean, you know how frustrating and embarrassing. Like, if that doesn't beat the message home. But then, JP, they followed it up with a sloppy scrimmage performance, so we didn't know what we were going to get.
Well, defense was all right. The offense wasn't that good.
You're right. The offense was very ineffective. But overall, you know, this team, I kept harping on one penalty for 5 yards in the first half. Outside of the pass interference, which was 46 yards, which kind of was like a back-and-forth hand-fighting situation, but you know, they call that one on the Jags. They only had 2 more 5-yard penalties in the second half. So it wasn't like they were, you know, that's sometimes you get beat, you grab a guy. Maybe it was a good call, maybe it wasn't. But that wasn't just a mental error kind of situation. So, yeah, they definitely have to feel a lot better about how clean the proceedings went today. And can't take your foot off the gas in that department, though. Just because you're not going to be playing your frontline guys, there are a lot of guys that are playing for their roster spot. And if you're going to be on this 53, you got to be able to be counted on. So hopefully they'll have that whatever extent they play guys next week, those guys will have the same kind of clean performance.
Some fascinating things, though, at linebacker today. Devin Lloyd had time not only with the ones, but with the twos. And then Ventrell Miller had some time in there with the first team.
And had a sack.
Yes, he did. Had 4 tackles to go with that. And
Jack Kaiser was out there calling defense or signaling in the defense.
Yes.
You know?
So the linebacker room, let's watch that this week, too.
Definitely. You know, it's interesting. ESPN did a piece this week rating every positional group for every team in the National Football League. You know, for instance, they put the Jags offensive line at 32, which I don't agree with, but okay, whatever your rationale is. They put their off-ball linebackers at 3rd best in the league. The metrics people love Devin Lloyd. I think people who watch Devin Lloyd week in, week out understand he's had his struggles, particularly in coverage here. He's a talented guy. I think as Jeff Logman put it today, he's got a ton of talent in his body. He's got a ton of athletic ability. He's not a dumb guy by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that at times he's gotten lost out there. So whether it's Devin Lloyd, whether it's Ventrell Miller, I think they've got some interesting options there. But you're right. What is the numbers game? How many of those guys do they want to keep? You know, Kaiser's going to have a role on this football team. You know, Gardeck, if you're counting him as a linebacker, is going to have a role on this football team. And I think that was a case today of them just saying, look, he's been banged up most of the offseason. We just got him back. We're not that worried. We know he's a vet. He's going to be fine if we don't play him at all in the preseason.
Yeah, I'm just hearing him in the pregame show. We had him today. Just his mindset. He's been through this before. Right. He understands. You know, he's going to follow what the doctors and athletic training staff says, but it's not his first time going through and recovering from something like this. So he should have a pretty good idea of how his body is ready to go for the regular season. And Dennis Gardeck. Another one, the secondary with all these injuries and things right now, you know, you got Tyson Campbell who's been out. Ransaw's been out for a long time. Monteric Brown's been out for a long time at corner. There's questions at safety still. Who's going to start? I mean, there's still a lot of unknowns on the back end of the defense.
Well, you know, and we did a 53-man roster projection earlier this week, and that's the difficult thing. Like, where is Ransaw in terms of his availability for the start of the season? Where's Monteric Brown? Where's Cole Van Lanen? So those are guys that have been out, like you said, for a little bit of period of time, so could open up on short-term IR, you know, for instance. And if that's the case, then it becomes a numbers game. You might be able to save a few more guys onto the active roster. I don't know that that's going to be the case. This is, you know, it is open-ended right now. We don't have, you know, we hear week to week. Week to week sometimes turns into 2 months. Sometimes it is literally 2 weeks, you know. And so I hope they have everybody at their disposal. But chances are, you know, you're going to have a few guys that you counted on be banged up. And that's why they're trying to develop depth right now.
Let's come back and get into the offensive line.
Yeah, let's.
How about that? A lot going on up there these days for the Jaguars as well. Final score, Jags 17, Saints 17 in preseason week number 2. And this is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Catch epic showdowns in Cincinnati and Denver. Turn up the heat in Phoenix and Las Vegas. Support your Jaguars in divisional clashes in Houston, Nashville, and Indianapolis. View real-time parking, security, and flight updates on flyjacks.com. Whether you stick with the play call or you need an audible, they'll be your teammate every step of the way. Book your nonstop flights today. Learn more at flyjacks.com.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson. You've seen and heard our ads where I talk about Renewal by Anderson's exclusive Fibrix material being twice as strong as vinyl, incredibly energy efficient, and custom built to fit your home perfectly. But if you haven't reached out yet, now's the time. August only. Renewal by Anderson is offering triple savings. $300 off every window, $825 off every patio door, plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Don't wait. Schedule your free consultation today at bestwindowsflorida.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
The Jaguars Scoreboard Show continues right now.
J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. No phones today. We'll get to those a little bit later in the preseason or regular season. On the Scoreboard Show, final score, Jaguars 17, Saints 17 in preseason week 2. And the Jaguars broadcast booth is presented by Heritage of North Florida, Jacksonville's premier roofing and remodeling company. Jaguars offensive line coming into the game today. Anton Harrison unavailable, lower body injury in Thursday's scrimmage. Chuma Edoga, the same thing. Edoga was getting some run earlier in camp with McCary off to the side and has kind of made a name for himself in this camp because of those performances, I think, in those days. Both of those guys are dinged up in the Thursday scrimmage. We'll see. It doesn't sound like long-term issues with them. However, there's issue enough to not play them in a game where they're trying to figure out parts of the offensive line. They were starting to flip Anton Harrison to left tackle in that scrimmage the other day, and then the injury happened. They've been flipping all these other guys on both sides of the line, which is great for versatility. But as we heard Liam Cohen, I asked him in the pregame show interview, hey, when would you like to have the starting five solidified? And he said, yeah, around about that practice in Miami, we need to really kind of have that figured out so they can get a little work in together before playing against Carolina.
And now the injury to Wyatt Milam, we don't know the extent of it. That can complicate issues as well. We were just talking on the break. If you presume that the five they have on the depth chart right now are the starters, Walker Little at left tackle, Ezra Cleveland at left guard, Robert Hainsey at center. They have McCary and Chuma Edoga still listed as co-stars. So let's say it's McCary and you got Anton Harrison at right. I think, if he's healthy enough to play at the beginning of the season, Cole Van Lanen's on this team. I think Chuma Edoga obviously is on this team. I think Jonah Monheim is on this team. Wyatt Milam is definitely on this team. So the question is Fred Johnson on this team? That's how I think it breaks down. And I projected that he would be because, again, you've got – what is your backup plan? You've got Cole Van Lanen who – even if he comes back, probably won't have had much practice at all before the start of the season. So you want to rely on him as your swing tackle? Do you want to rely on Wyatt Milam, who's a rookie who you drafted to play guard as a swing tackle? McCary can swing out to the right side with Anton flipping to the left. So there is that. You don't need necessarily a bench guy to replace him, but right now I think the number is 10. And I think Sal Wormley's a guy who's played well, too, at times. I just don't know if they can squeeze another interior offensive lineman, barring another injury somewhere along the line.
And they like Monheim enough that he can play the interior
I don't
positions.
think there's any question Monheim makes this team. I think he's played well both weeks in these preseason games. And, I was told that they felt he was the best center in this entire draft. Now, Jared Wilson was the consensus best center in this draft, who was thought of as like a third-round pick. But they weren't even planning on drafting another offensive lineman, and they look up in the 7th round. They're like, "Guys, this is too good a value. We have him graded. We have to take him." And he's shown the versatility to play all the interior positions. So I don't think there's any question that Jonah Monheim makes this 53.
That's the offensive line at the moment. We'll see coming out of this game about Milam, who was limping at one point, according to the radio broadcast today, as was Fred Johnson
was limping too, right? So hopefully they're both fine, right?
Don't know the extent.
Yeah, Wyatt Milam probably could turn certainly in the long-term view is going to be a key player here in Jacksonville. Could be a key player as soon as this year. So if he's got a little ankle tweak, yeah, you'd like to see him get these reps, but you don't want to see him exacerbate something. Let it sit down and settle down, and you still got 3 weeks to go. Hopefully he'll be ready to go when you need him, when it really matters.
Yes, and that's week 1.
Absolutely.
Against Carolina.
Correct.
That's what we're building towards.
No doubt.
Regular season.
Got to get a dub. Got to. I mean, it's a home game against a team that, look, Carolina's not going to be a world beater. They may be improved. I'm sure they're thinking, hey, we're going to go down there. We got to get a dub, too. That was a 4-win team in Jacksonville. But in terms of openers, JP, like if you're opening with Kansas City at home, even though it's a home game, you're like, damn. It's the Chiefs, man. These guys, right? I mean, Carolina's not that team. So they're an NFL squad. You got to give them respect. But 1-0 start is absolutely, except no substitutes for the Jags.
Let's come back and get into the wide receiver room a bit. Couple of injuries there going into the game today. Some performances from those who stepped in their place today as well. It's the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com.
Hey, Jaguar fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Join the thousands of Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Stadium on game day. That's JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jax. Passes start at $10 on the MyJTA mobile app. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Game Day Express is one way the JTA is working to create a better connected Northeast Florida. Visit JTAFLA.com for more details.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Hey fans, it's Tyson Campbell, cornerback for your Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium. And you can enjoy even more with the pizza pick-off promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their locations.
The Jaguars Scoreboard Show. Scoreboard Show continues right now.
J.P. Shadrick with Mike Dempsey. No calls this week. Final score in New Orleans, 17-17. Jags and the Saints preseason week 2. They finish in a draw. The Jags had a 17-3 lead at one point, but then late in the game, a late touchdown drive led by Spencer Rattler, and then a takeaway. Jaguars give it away around midfield when they had a chance for a long field goal to try to win, and that secured the tie finish today, 17-17. And, hey, the Jags going into the game, as we've mentioned before, had a number of scratches today, especially in the wide receiver room. Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown unable to go today, and we'll see their status moving ahead. But it just felt like, Travis Hunter was out on the practice field yesterday, had a helmet but had it off to the side. It was basically just to stand there and watch practice day for him coming off the scrimmage. Upper body issue we found out after practice was the case and the reasoning behind that. And De'Ami Brown being held out more of as a precaution, I believe, as well. We'll see moving ahead on those. But then Parker Washington steps in there today and continues what's been a strong camp for him. Has a touchdown, fights his way inside the 5, and dives in for the touchdown today, which was great to see. And that gives some opportunities. I don't know if it's really a mystery, the 5 that you're probably going to keep. Right? Cephas is going to be the 5th guy.
Yeah, I heard Jeff Logman say on the broadcast he's kind of slowed down. I feel like he had built up such a lead, though. The top 4 are the top 4, right? With Parker Washington being 4. But Cephas was the guy who consistently, almost every practice, was making a big play downfield. Now, what he gives you on special teams, that's their internal discussion, right? But I think in terms of if you needed a wide receiver to play – and maybe play extensively this season, I think Cephas is the guy. Now, if you keep 6, my personal feeling is that Trenton Irwin is that guy. Logs and I kind of talked about that this week. He didn't know if he's got the speed for it. I just think he's a crafty route runner. He finds ways to get open. He did it again today. And he's got some return ability, right? So if something happened to Parker Washington, or if something happened to a guy ahead of Parker Washington and Parker's playing a full-time receiver role, I think Trenton or Irwin could step in. Now, would he be active on game day in a typical circumstance? No. But I don't think any of the 6 receivers here are likely to do that. Austin Trammell, the only guy that put up any kind of numbers today at 4 catches, only for 27 yards. For me, if I'm handicapping if they're keeping 6, it's Cephas at 5, it's Irwin at 6, but I'm not in those team meetings and talking about the special teams value that they bring.
Then go back to our O-line conversation. If you're keeping 6 wide receivers, are you keeping 9 linemen at that point?
It depends, because are you counting Travis Hunter as a receiver, or are you counting him as a corner? Right. And so it's kind of like you're keeping 5.5, right? And whatever, if you're keeping 6, 7 corners, you're keeping 6.5, 7, whatever it is. So how do they utilize that extra spot on the roster? Are you keeping 4 running backs? Don't know the answer to that. Are you keeping one of these young defensive ends, Strigau or Green, in there? I don't know if Miles Cole has a great chance to make this team. I think just in terms of D-ends, I think Agba, who had a good practice this week, had what would have been a multiple sack practice, and we're seeing Smoot show up. He got a near sack today that went to Ventrell Miller. Had one last week. I think those guys, along with Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, are your true edges. Gardeck's going to be counted as a linebacker, but he may be your 4th pass rusher, right? So I think it's Gardeck is going to make this team. In fact, if you're in base defense on opening week, I think he's going to be your Sam linebacker. I think that brings into question, does Yasir Abdullah make this team? He's been listed as kind of a co-starter with Gardeck, but how many linebackers do you keep? It becomes a numbers game there as well. I did not have Chad Muma making this team. And at defensive tackle, just having a lot. We had a lot last year, JP. They weren't very good, right? We can have less that are better. That would be fine, too. But
you're leaning on Mason Smith and Eric Armstead to be right.
Right, but let's presume that they are healthy, right? Yeah. Those are going to be there. Devon Hamilton, Jordan Jefferson. I think Tyler Lacey, if you're keeping 5, is probably the leader there, but I don't know how they feel about Austin Johnson as well. So, could it be 10 defensive linemen, 10 offensive linemen? I think it could be. But you're going to have to lose somebody somewhere. I think it could come down to Ray Lane against Daniel Thomas for one spot. at the safety position, and I know Daniel Thomas played extensively on defense in the second half today, but Lane showed up again with a big special teams tackle, and that's going to be the way he makes this football team. I'd be very surprised if Ray Lane doesn't make the 53. Is there room for two of those guys on this team? I don't know.
Because Daniel Thomas has a track record of playing really good special teams football.
Right, that's his calling card for this football team. I talked with John Ogier this week. We had him on Jaguars Today. He goes, I said, well, let's talk about the safety room. He goes, let's start with the guy I think is the safest, and that was Daniel Thomas because of his special teams prowess. I don't necessarily agree with that, him being the safest. Now, he could very well make the opening day roster. And then, is Caleb Bransaw going to get back to practice anytime soon? Right, so there's a roster spot there. What do you do with Savage, who can play nickel for you in a pinch? He's been listed as a co-starter. I don't think he starts, but do you keep him around for veteran experience?
Yeah, does he make it? If you're keeping all these other guys.
I did not project Savage to make it. I didn't project Daniel Thomas to make this team. I did have Antonio Johnson on. So, again, I'm looking at youth, upside, that kind of thing. Moving forward, new coaching staff, fresh set of eyes. You're not going to have whatever you did in the past be held against you or count that much for you. It's what you've done for this coaching staff since they've gotten here.
Let's return, and we'll preview the week ahead and our final thoughts. The Jaguars and the Dolphins match up this week in preseason week 3. Final score in preseason week 2, Jags 17, Saints 17. This is the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.
Hey fans, it's Tyson Campbell, cornerback for your Jacksonville Jaguars. This season, make your game day even tastier with Al's Pizza in the stadium. And you can enjoy even more with the pizza pick-off promo after the game. When the Jaguars get 2 interceptions in one game, you'll score 50% off one pizza any size you want for 48 hours after the game. Just tell them you want the Jags Pick promo when you order. Up your game and your pizza with Al's at the stadium or any of their locations.
What's here is a place that generations have trusted to help their kids grow up healthy and strong. What's here are caregivers with knowledge and expertise rivaling any children's hospital in the world. What's here is the only Level 1 pediatric trauma center in our region. What's here is Wolfson Children's Hospital, with the technology, research, and dedication to save and change countless young lives. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
The moment you drop off donations at a North Florida Goodwill, your things start new lives. A donated jersey helps someone suit up for success through education and training. A pair of old cleats helps a job seeker step confidently into new career opportunities. Every donation fuels Goodwill's mission to provide education, training, and career opportunities, removing barriers to employment and building brighter futures across our community. To find your nearest donation center and learn more, visit GoodwillNorthFL.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jaguar fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Join the thousands of Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Stadium on game day. That's JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jags. Passes start at $10 on the MyJTA mobile app. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens. Game Day Express is one way the JTA is working to create a better connected Northeast Florida. Visit JTAFLA.com for more details.
Is your organization ready to tackle its toughest challenges? For 3 decades, CSI Companies based in Jacksonville has been the trusted workforce partner for leading healthcare and technology providers nationwide. Whether finding the right talent for a specific job, advising on a strategic project, or offering seamless managed services, they tailor every solution to fit your needs. CSI brings trusted expertise and a people-first approach to your organization. Get the job done right. Together, we go further. Learn more at CSICompanies.com.
The Jaguars Scoreboard Show continues right now.
J.P. Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, no calls this week. We'll get to them closer to the regular season. Final score, 17-17 Jags in New Orleans today. Tie with the Saints in preseason week number 2. And from the backyard to the beaches, the Ford F-150 with available Pro Power on board gives you the power of a mobile generator. Ford, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. See your local Ford dealer today. So the Jaguars this week head to Miami. They'll practice against the Dolphins on Thursday. 1 day of practice. Walkthrough day Friday. Game Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium. And the last opportunity to figure out a lot of these position battles that we've talked about and some injuries that have popped up. This is a big week ahead for Liam Cohen and the staff.
You know what it might be a big week for is the backup quarterback battle, right? I mean, I feel like Nick Mullins is clearly the guy, but Seth Hennigan played so well last week, but they wanted to give John Wolford some run. There's some feel that might be trying to hide Hennigan a little bit and slide him onto the practice squad, but I think he'll end up playing a decent amount. I could see Mullins starting, maybe playing a series or two next week, something like that, and give it to Wolford and Hennigan the rest of the way. Of course, he threw the pick in the end, so nothing he did today is going to catch anybody's eye, but that's something, you watch out for. But I think the big thing, JP, other than how they perform against Miami, just let's get some of these banged-up guys healthy. Nothing seems to be a long-term issue at the moment for any of the guys, even the guys that have been out for a little while. There's a sense that they'll be back at some point, but let's not have any more attrition here. It does seem to hit in bunches, right? So you got several offensive linemen a little bit questionable for how deep they're going to be able to go this week. So you may end up having to play a few of your starters in that position group next week.
Plenty more discussion about this coming up all week long on Jaguars Today, right?
10 to noon with David Garrard tomorrow. We get the full lineup this week. Of course, myself and Tony Smith every day, but David Garrard on Mondays, Jeff Lageman Tuesday, John Ogier Wednesday, Mike DeRocco will debut on Thursday for this season, and Tom McManus on Friday.
That's coming up starting tomorrow. Of course, Jags AM tomorrow morning, Jaguars.com and Jags YouTube, and then Jaguars Happy Hour tomorrow afternoon, 4 to 6 p.m. on 1010XL AM. Pete Prisco, Austin Lane. Hope you'll join us. Thanks to our entire crew, both here and in New Orleans. For Mike Dempsey, I'm J.P. Shadrick. Thanks to you for listening. Final score for the final time, Jags 17, Saints 17 in preseason week 2. This has been the Scoreboard Show on Jaguars Radio.